All right, abusuan yi cha ona san so mo akwaba so nkoso emfa wo mere channel so ha da so aye be media je chabusu be se wa se ene de dika wani twa channel so abusuan be se wa so be subscribe like na wa boa a share ana se wa boa notification bell no so mo podcast update abusuan ene nkomo bi aba abonten a efa eye Ken Ofori-Atta ho na abusuan we de ma mekasa wa ma mekasa tete pase ekwo na yetie ensem a aba abonten yes yetie ensem a chese aba abonten na se wi a abusuan abomoden na ya kire ya dwe hada so ye be media je chebe se wa se ene de dika wani twa channel so ai be se wa so be subscribe dia YouTube channel no that's
NDC legal director we pia babontin abekasa me patron in the person of Ejudita Maklo me patron na American Wasen Esquire na me patron we pia babontin e de nsem bia betudwa o kire se mo Ken Ofori-Atta now your friend say o finance your friend say unua menka ne sa unua na Addo just so you be biasin the former president are currently on the president no John Dramani Mahama oye bibia so obe jeli no or just because almost that the corruption allegation be almost level corruption allegation be the tone so Emma Iokofo so far inviting na hihye no mu ono kwa na no ye former president no Iokofo ebe fa no a no mu hihye ne nsemu Emma ekade nyankopon kwa ne save your current president because he was innocent. Yeva Ato Forson die. Mo hwehwe Ato Forson nsemu for 8 years and mo ye mu be bia se mo be jeli Ato Forson and of course ye nyina ye nim se ye pacho we die enye onokwa na eka on record ye nyina ye nim die si ye Japan the former AG no case ya na on record say no mo se mo peso chinchi no mo jeli Ato Forson ni ye nyina ye nya bi hweye and me pacho we information e wo public domain nti abusuya we pia ba bonta say na usangofo mu nyina akra no wo ma go through that rigorous friends process na legal friends process na wo Ken Ofori-Atta wo ye hwan abusuya makasa kakra yenko tie nsema doctor sorry yenko tie nsema lawyer Ejudita Maklo pia ba bonten na information o send akoma former finance minister Ken Ofori-Atta ye wi ebedi nkomo yankopon hira ye nyina me do bi biase.
Now from what the Ghanaian embassy is saying, the overtures made to Ken Ofori-Atta, and he says that without the presence of his lawyers, he has a right, of course, to refuse that support. But what do you make of the narrative so far, subsequently leading to that support that had been extended to him by the Ghana embassy?
Okay, thank you so much. I hope we will have the opportunity of maybe discussing briefly the groundbreaking payment done by the Ministry of Finance.
Yeah, we'll do that for the second.
So. The Ministry of Energy.
So once we keep
$1.4 billion legacy debts. Our lights have been on for the past almost a year, and I want to salute the Minister of Finance and my sector minister, Honorable Abdullahi Jinapo. But that said, on the substantive matter, you see, Roland, I am a firm believer of the rule of law and the respect for same. I have in the past 12 years in my law practice represented clients of diverse background, but mostly in terms of criminal defense practice, I have done a bit of work, and I have always advocated that anything that gives the ordinary Ghanaian the opportunity and the benefit of due process, that should be done. And we should never do anything to reduce those fundamental rights, particularly the constitutional provision on Article 19, and you have the benefit of the Constitution. Kindly read it for me, Article 19 of the Constitution.
So basically, I'll just go through.
And the heading relates to fair trial. Fair trial.
Fair trial.
The fair trial rules. And the reason for these fair trial rules is that it is no respecter of a person. Be you a Ken Ofori-Atta, be you an Eduji, be you Buahin, be you a Roland, be you what? In the superior wisdom of the framers of the 1992 Constitution, they created in it these fair trial rules. And the reason for these fair trial rules is to ensure that any Ghanaian accused of any crime whatsoever should have the benefit of due process. And these rules have been given an elevated
Love on Cheeto. Hot pepper sauce. Serve your
to 14, 15 on the right of a person who is under arrest or any form of investigation, the rights that should be accorded that person. All these constitutional rights have been put in place to ensure that any Ghanaian, regardless of religion, ethnicity, status, should be given that opportunity that they will proffer a defense. Look, Roland, I recall as defense counsel in the NCA criminal matter in 2017, I remember an episode where we went to court before my Lord Justice Chebafor, now a justice of the Court of Appeal, where in the trial, listen carefully, in the trial, we had to consult our clients in open court whether or not we should object to a piece of evidence that is being offered against them or not, right in open court. So I remember one day, Sunday, I called my brother Randolph Chumesi, and I said, Randolph, the way this trial is going on, it will not help us. Let's do something. I remember drafting an application for discovery. I sent it to my senior Justice Rimsai for his comments, among other seniors. We filed it. We appeared before Justice Chebafor and moved an application for discovery in criminal matters. When we did, the then Attorney General, Madam Gloria Kufu, came to court and they opposed that application. Roland, it took the intervention of my Lord Justice Chebafor, who saw merit in the application and said, look, I'll refer it to the Supreme Court for interpretation and direction. That is what resulted, I'm sure, in the criminal procedure class. They'll tell you the Eugene Bafo-Boni decision on discoveries. That is how we did it. And I remember in that application, the then AG opposition was that allowing discoveries in summary trials was going to be burdensome and others. Today, through that referral by my Lord Justice Chebafor, the Supreme Court today had given direction, said that in all criminal matters, be it at the district court, circuit court, high court, or whatsoever, the accused person is offered the opportunity of discoveries. That is the kind of growth, that is the kind of constitutional development that we've had over the period. Now to the specific issue of Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta, and I needed to give these preambles so that we would all appreciate the development that had undertaken by Ghanaians over the period. Look, Roland, Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta, from 2017, became the finance minister of this republic until he was replaced by the Honorable Amin Anta. Now get this, the finance minister is the protector, the number one handler of the public purse. Now, if you recall, even in the Bible, the parable of the talents, you recall Christ tells us the story of a man who gave talents to his servants. He traveled, came back, and asked those servants, what sayest thou of the talents I've given to you? Accountability. So you notice that when we created this constitution, we provided in it that the governing principles underpinning this constitution shall be one, probity, to probe, to ask questions. Two, accountability, to account for your stewardship.
And you're saying this in relation to Ken Ofori-Atta?
Ken Ofori-Atta. So you notice that the governing principles underlining our current constitutional architecture is probity, accountability, and social justice. The reason for this principle should never be lost on any of us public officers. Not long ago, I had to appear before the Public Accounts Committee, but for some reason, my deputy had to go to account for the work I do. And that's why the name of the committee is what? Public Accounts committee, accountability. Now, in the specific case of Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta, you have been the person who, for all this period, have signed all onto our monies, committed this government or the government of the Republic of Government to Ghana to financial commitments over the period. In fact, the law of what? The Public Financial Management Act is a Ministry of Finance Act. Now you have a situation where you have just been asked, come and account for your stewardship. The public fund that came into your hands, how you utilize it. Initially, we were told that you were not well, and so you needed medical assistance abroad.
His lawyer does indicate that he's recuperating and would only leave the jurisdiction based on his medical practitioner's advice.
You see, there is a statement by the law office of Minka Primo. Read it. You have it. Now, if you read that statement from the law office of Minka Primo, it is the mark of sheer insincerity on the part of Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta. That statement from the law office of Minka Primo puts the Ken Ofori-Atta narrative that he was not well, he was sick, and therefore needed medical attention into a different perspective. Because in that statement by the law offices of Minka Primo, they say Ken Ofori-Atta today is asking the United States Authority to change his status. That is insincerity to the highest order.
How is that?
At the time,
because according to the statement,
carefully,
he says that has a pending petition for adjustment of status.
Can you imagine this?
Is he not entitled to have that right?
That is the height of dishonesty. That is the height of insincerity. At the time, Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta wrote to the former chief of staff, Madame Fremont Parry, to permit him to travel abroad. It was for medical purposes. You get your treatment, you come back. You are now writing to the U.S. officers, and your lawyers have confirmed it, that the reason is that you want to adjust your status. You now want green card. You now want permanent residence. That is the mark of dishonesty. And we should not tolerate this.
Is he not entitled to
what it means is that when he said he was going to the United States of America for medical purposes, it was a ruse to escape from accountability.
That he had other ulterior motives beyond that?
And look, the lawyers for him, I wish they never wrote this statement. But it is good for public accounts. Because per this statement, his lawyers voluntarily are now telling the people of this country that Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta now wants green card. He wants permanent residence.
It's not been specified that.
No, but that's what it is. If you went with B1, B2 visas and now you want an adjustment, effectively what you are asking for is you want permanent residence. Why do you think Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta now wants to run away from the properties he had acquired?
I don't understand.
His own house at Labone here. Why is his own house now becoming like a haunting ground? Like a ghost, like ghost haunting him. You see, I have always maintained, and as a public official, I'm always minded about one thing. There is a day like the Bible, a day for judgment, a day for accountability. So whatever we are doing, we are minded by this sacred thing. Now, you see, the reason why it's important that Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta is made to come back to Ghana to face his stewardship, to account for that stewardship, you know why? It's a lesson to all of us public officials. And Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta has become a bad influence.
How do you mean by a bad influence?
A bad influence in the sense that today, Addo here, if I'm giving public responsibility, I know tomorrow I will escape from justice.
How so?
I'll run to Togo. I won't go to America.
I'll go to that you're unwell?
Yes. Maybe for me, I'll go for herbal medicine and go to Togo. At least the Atama close and Noche and the rest. So I'll go and stay there.
As well.
And Benin, the Home Republic. where Agokoli used to be. I mean, that's going back home. Roland, what it tells you is that he had become a bad example for public office holders.
I don't understand. That if you are supposed to account, then you run away.
You run away.
Oh, Eduji.
No, but what is it? And you see, Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta is not just any minister. He was the finance minister. Now look at our political history. From 1992, the Minister of Finance up to 1996 was Mr. Kwesi Botwe. Correct?
Correct, yeah.
Subsequently, it became Richard Kwampepra.
Yeah.
Nana Osafo Mafo. Then Kwejo Baredu. And we've had it till now.
Yeah.
Each one of them stayed in this country to go through the rigors of accountability. See,
but Ken Ofori-Atta is a man who is not accustomed to the environment of the United States. Indeed, went to school there.
You know, Ken Ofori-Atta's own father was a finance minister, Jones Ofori-Atta.
Sure.
After he didn't run away. He stayed in this country. In fact, he was MP.
He subsequently even contested MPP presidential candidate.
Now, you know the intriguing part of this conversation, Roland.
Eddie, wrap up for me.
I will. Is the fact that Minister Kwampepra went through prosecution. Incidentally, do you know who prosecuted Minister Kwampepra? Nana Addo Akufo-Addo as Attorney General. Yes. Nana Addo Akufo-Addo as president investigated Mr. Setekwe. Nana Addo Akufo-Addo as president investigated Honorable Ato Forson. In fact, I remember vividly going to Yoko with Honorable Ato Forson in November 2017. In fact, when we went to Yoko
November 2017?
2017, for 4 years, Honorable Ato Forson was never called again by Yoko. You know what happened? E-levy, the budget was read on the 19th November 2021. That had in it e-levy. Ranking on Finance, Honorable Ato Forson raised an issue about the fact that e-levy was going to destroy the entire ecosystem. What happened? On 25th, so budget 25th November 2021, I was there when now Speaker Bagwe called that Yoko had written to him that they should allow Ato Forson to come back 4 years after an investigation, simply because Ken Ofori-Atta was annoyed that Honorable Ato Forson had committed on the e-levy. Just then, in Speaker Bagwen's conference room, Ato was charged.
And you represented him?
I was with him there.
You were his lawyer?
I was with him. And for almost 4 years, from 2021, until the Court of Appeal acquitted and discharged him, we were going to court back and forth. So if Minister Ato Forson can stay in this country for 8 solid years, Minister Setekwe 8 solid years, and went through the full rigors of the law, what is so unique? I have heard the other narrative that it is witch hunting. So far, who has investigated Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta? The Office of the Special Prosecutor, correct? October 2017, President Nana Addo Akufo-Addo assented to the act establishing the Office of the Special Prosecutor. Did Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, Ken Ofori-Atta, and the NPP in 2017 set up that office to witch hunt people?
I don't understand.
That is the office that is prosecuting and investigating him. And so where from this narrative of witch hunting? Now, I'll conclude finally on this. President John Dramani Mahama, who even became president of this republic, Nana Addo Akufo-Addo wrote to the Office of the Special Prosecutor to investigate him and his family.
What's your point with this?
The point is that even the president, the former president, OSP, went to him, took his statement in the company of his lawyers. Due process. What is so unique about Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta?
I don't understand. That he
cannot.
Is that what you're claiming?
Even a former president, not minister, former president, went through the full rigors of Ghanaian criminal law and came out clean. Does it not? Is the impression not being created that if you are running away, it means you have committed some offense?
Who is creating that impression? He hasn't created that impression. Indeed, the onus lies with.
Why do you go for lawyers like?
With the prosecution
why do you go for lawyers like
to
John?
Prove beyond all reasonable
Why
doubt?
do you go for lawyers like John Ashcroft and the rest? If everything that you have done is above board.
But he's entitled to legal counsel.
And you see, in the specific case of a finance minister, what makes his role unique is that, like the wife of Caesar, you need to live above reproach. Of all ministers, the one that have direct financial fiduciary responsibility is that of the finance minister. And so I think that it's even in the interest of my brother's political party, the NPP, that Ken Ofori-Atta comes and account. So that in 2028, when you are campaigning, Ghanaians will not believe that if you vote for NPP in a very long future, their finance ministers will run away from accountability.
Dr. Kokubuahi has joined us. How are you? Where's Ken now?
Ken is in Accra.
Okay.
We're doing the Ayawaso block.
Suggestion that, well, he has to come in country for accountability, so to speak, also cannot be justified, is it? Because he hasn't been proven to be guilty or otherwise.
So let me wish you all a good morning once again, and to say emphatically that I align entirely with the views shared here, as in so well articulated here by my learned friend Addo and to say that over the between 2017 and 2024, we saw a government that in its dealings, in how it managed Ghana, behaved in a manner or governed Ghana in a manner that was adverse to our common agenda. That was adverse to the values, principles, and ideals clearly stated under our constitution. Because, like Addo rightly said, one of the very core values that underpinned our 1992 constitution are the values, one of a firm belief in the principles of the rule of law. I know that one of the fundamental principles of the rule of law is a belief that we are all equal before the law. We are all equal before the law. And two, a belief in the principle of probity and accountability. So that on 7 January 2017 and 7 January 2021, when Addo took his oath of office, among the things he vowed to do was one, to...
I shall protect the public purse.
Even beyond that, he said he was going to protect, defend, and preserve the laws of Ghana. He said he was going to be faithful to Ghana. And that meant that he was going to be faithful to the values of Ghana. One of the core values were the values of probity and accountability. You recall that Addo made it one of his core political mandates in his bid to protect the public purse, in his bid to uphold the principles of probity and accountability, the creation of the Office of the Special Prosecutor. So in 17 October 2017, right, Addo assented to the act that created the Office of the Special Prosecutor. I think when he assented to that office, he showed his first act of unfaithfulness. Because he, being an astute lawyer, he knew that to create a body whose purpose was to be independent, to be non-partisan, and to be independent, then that body ought to have been created by an amendment of the Constitution.
Because Article 88?
Because of Article 88, the OSP is not independent. And you see that weakness in the OSP, in how Ken's case was issued, as it has been handled.
You mean the SMO case?
All the cases that the OSP, this current OSP, were cases that were done before February 2024. Because Ken resigned February 2024. I find it strange. I find it very strange that it will have to take more than almost 2 years before charges were preferred against Ken. And you see, when Ken was leaving Ghana, the OSP was aware. He didn't do anything. I think I said it here. It's very strange that the OSP suddenly has the cojones to bring charges against Ken. But he will do that because it might be, there's absolutely no commitment to hold Ken himself accountable. As for Ken, I don't want to talk about him because clearly he's running away. You understand? Clearly he's running away.
He's running. Huh?
Oh, he's running away.
The narrative is that he's entitled to
listen, he's running away.
petition the United States for his visa status.
See,
to
January when Ken wrote the letter to the
be changed.
chief of staff, or when the OSP came out, Ken